is a beautiful day in Manchester. Chill Girl Chrissy here, Alderman in Ward 6. Welcome to our Chill and Heal show. And today's show is really, it's really special. Prostate cancer affects so many people. Cancer in general affects so many people, and I'm sitting alongside presidents, co-presidents of NHPCC, Peter and Kathy. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
us here.
Oh my gosh, we've been working together for years now.
Yeah.
And NHPCC, New Hampshire for Prostate Cancer Coalition, unbelievable, extraordinary coalition, and Dick Hatton, oh my gosh, there was a lineup of amazing people that have been part of this organization, and you were leading the way. And you know, we all went through a lot during the pandemic. We couldn't meet, things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And you guys picked up the ball. Literally, they picked up the ball and they ran with it. Dick Hatton, Ann Hatton, president, vice president, and then you guys took on the lead. And I really, so grateful.
Don't forget Harvey.
Harvey,
Keith.
how could I forget Harvey? Harvey is the man.
He's the man. He is the man.
Yes, he's been on our show several times.
Oh,
I love Harvey. We love Harvey.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So can you share a little bit about you and why you are so passionate about prostate cancer?
Sure. Kath, why don't you start? You
Okay,
have a more intriguing story than I.
You guys are both intrigued.
Absolutely.
They're doers, they're movers and shakers.
Well, we try. I got involved because of Peter, actually. It's a passion of mine. My husband passed away 10 years ago from prostate cancer, and at the time the PSA test was going through a real controversial kind of time, and he didn't believe in it, and his doctor didn't make him do it. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I probably, then he was away traveling, and he called me and said, I think I need a doctor's appointment. So we went that Friday when he got home, and 2 hours later he was a cancer patient. Oh. And he fought hard for 4 years with a good quality of life through a variety of treatments. I guess my point is, if I knew then what I know now, I would have nagged him. And I think it's our responsibility as the women in their lives.
Yeah. Nag the men in your lives.
Absolutely.
It's so important. And I feel like, you know, I don't want to, the PSA, I've just been an advocate for it for years because I feel like it's helped my dad. I had him for 17 more years.
Oh,
you know, I lost him 9 years ago to prostate cancer. He courageously, positively, fought the good fight, but now he's up surfing the clouds, you know what I mean? Skiing the clouds, actually.
My spirit guide.
Yes, yes.
And so, that's why I'm so passionate about it.
And it's controversial, the PSA test, and I believe in it, and you definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
No.
Early detection is what it's about.
What it is.
Early detection, if that's your first indicator, it's a blood test.
It's simple blood test. That's the big thing. I always say to people, it's a simple blood test.
Right.
And so this is why it's so important to connect and have conversations.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, what worked for my dad may have not worked for someone else. Because Peter, you know, we were at We Are One Festival right in Manchester, and, you know, there was a doctor there, and he was against the PSA test.
Yeah.
And I was like, raising my brows. I think it's really important for us to raise our brows and ask questions.
Yeah.
So, and our big thing has been PSA tests, right?
Yes. And I'm still not sure why that, why this, and he's an oncologist and urologist, and I haven't had a chance to really ask him why. I mean, he briefly said that, there are two types of prostate cancer. One is going to be more aggressive. Mm-hmm. The other, you'll probably live with it and die from something else. Mm-hmm. But for me, I was very fortunate because I had a primary care doctor years ago who, did the PSA test, did that simple blood test, and, she would track it. And then when I reached, 4, the red flag went up, and she said, you need to go see a urologist. And I went to Manchester Urology and saw Dr. Girasol, and I am very fortunate. I am a level 1, and I'm doing active surveillance for the last 7 years now. Now that doesn't mean that cancer being what it is, that it could develop into something bigger, but the chances are I will die from something else. However, it became a passion with me because I knew Kathy and her husband. I have 2 friends who right now have stage 4 prostate cancer. One in particular, his primary care doctor just did the rectal exam.
Yeah.
And I asked him once what his PSA was, and he said, I'm not sure. She doesn't believe in the PSA. And then one night we were actually going to a hockey game at UNH, and he said, oh, I have to go for an MRI on Wednesday. And I said, oh, okay. The following week, we're driving over to another game, and I said, how'd you make out with the MRI? And he said, well, good news, bad news. He said, the good news is I don't have a hernia. The bad news is I have stage 4 prostate cancer.
Oh, boy.
And he went to Dana-Farber. His PSA levels were 59, and that's a lot.
So
Kathy's husband was even more
600.
than
600. So can you share exactly like the PSA leveling and so forth? That is not my expertise. I just always go, hey, I'm not a doctor, but I highly recommend going and having a PSA
My
test.
son just had his PSA done, and he said it's a 1.
It's a 1.
And I said, okay, that's good.
So
great.
1 is good, and where is the numbers when it?
Yeah, well,
Not
my doctor said 4, and from everything I read, and I get a lot of information on prostate cancer and so forth, and they say once you hit 4, that becomes, a factor.
Questionable? Okay.
Yeah, now you really should see a urologist. And then, yes, I've, over the years, even pre-COVID, when I used to go out, I remember one particular event up at Concord Cancer Center, and the gentleman was very angry with me about the PSA. He said, oh, I had my PSA was up, and I had to have a biopsy.
Right.
You know what a biopsy is like? And I said, well, I've had 3. I said, yeah, they're uncomfortable, but think of the alternative. You're lucky. You should count yourself lucky. Yes, it's an uncomfortable procedure.
Right.
But if you had cancer detected, now you would have been able to have surgery or radiation, or now the chemotherapy and the hormone treatments. I mean, you could be dead because Dick Hatton always likes to say, prostate cancer is a silent killer.
It is.
Men do not like to talk about it.
That's the killer right here.
Men do not like to talk
Not
about
talking about it. We need to talk about everything.
That's why the demographic, when we talk about who's our demographic, it's the women. And when we have tables with literature all out, the men will be, yep, I'm good. And then the women will stop and pick up the information.
Yeah.
And they're our demographic. We need to appeal to the women for the men in their life.
Yes, even that doctor from Dartmouth, who said he was questionable about the PSA, even though his father had died from prostate cancer. Even he said to me later on after you had gone, he said, can you tell me how we get men to talk about this? And I said, that is the $64,000 question.
Absolutely.
Which that statement ages me.
But,
well,
a little bit,
But I mean, men, for whatever reason, maybe it's a masculinity thing, but women have been so proactive with breast cancer, and other forms of cancer. Women take better care of themselves than men. Maybe it's a macho thing. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, and so that's why I think it's so important. We have to talk about the uncomfortable topics.
Right.
And so I think that, I'll always talk about the PSA test, early detection, things like that. What I found is when you go, okay, well, if you don't check on things, then you could have bigger symptoms later. And what are those symptoms? You want to share some of those symptoms?
Oh,
Erectile dysfunction. I mean, that's when guys are like, whoa, what are you talking about? You're talking
Right.
about my manhood?
Right.
And I'm like, well, I'm not, it is a problem.
It is.
So if you catch things early, if you go see your doctor, urologist, those
Right.
are some of the things. What is that? What other complications too?
Oh, well, incontinence, all right, erectile dysfunction, as you mentioned.
It very easily goes to the bone.
Yeah, and to the lungs. Yeah, as a matter of fact, if you progress, if it metastasizes into other organs, like
Yes.
my two friends, then you,
Like my husband.
yeah, and like John, it's all over your body.
Right.
And yeah, the lungs and the bones, prostate
Yeah.
cancer migrates to for some reason.
Right.
But now there's a new scan. It's called a PMSA scan, and it's a nuclear scan. They inject you with a nuclear dye, and they do the CAT scan, and it picks up the cancer cells at a molecular level anywhere in your body. And last night I was on a Zoom meeting for New Hampshire Prostate Cancer Support Group, and the gentleman on that, there were 14 of us talking, and one gentleman, like your dad, he had prostate cancer. He had it taken care of, had the surgery, had it removed, and now it's back at stage 4.
Oh my gosh.
My two friends, when they have a PM, and I'll see a friend actually this afternoon is stopping. He was at Mass General yesterday talking about what chemotherapy he can go on to try and keep him alive, literally for another 18 months.
Right.
And his cancer has shown up in his shoulder, his back,
Yep.
his lymph nodes, in his left heel, and his right hip. But there are new drugs coming, on board or down the pipeline, as they call it, all the time. There's a
Right.
new drug now that once you have that PMSA scan, you get this drug, and it goes out and attacks the cancer cells. The trouble is, it's not a cure. It gives you time. It suppresses the cancer
Right.
from spreading. And then the other thing,
But I'm all for having them suppress it for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
totally.
new things are being developed every day.
Oh, absolutely.
And so if the longer you live, the longer the chances that
There
something
is
is
more
going to be
hope.
effective.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there's also, when I was part of the New Hampshire National Alliance for Prostate Cancer Coalition, and that's another story because I'm not on that board anymore. And I just want to tell you, thank you for supporting me in New Hampshire, because I believe in health freedom, and I don't believe in any doctors, any scientists being suppressed. And ivermectin cures a lot of things. And what I do know is there was a lot of doctors when I was at the conference, I think it was 2019, and the doctor's like, listen, you can starve cancer. You can starve it with our diet. And that is really, really key. So what we put in our body
Right.
matters. We've got to stop the sugar, and I have a sugar problem. That's my that's my thing. So I really have to stop my own sugar.
I hear ya.
Easier said than done.
Right.
But there are, and you know what? There's this other doctor that talks about fungus. I can't remember his name right this moment. I feel like we're all over. There's so much going on, and we need to do our own research. And we
Right.
definitely need to take our health and our lives take the reins.
Right.
Yeah.
Take the reins.
Right.
Yeah, last
of our
night,
lives.
in the support group Zoom meeting, we start off the Zoom meeting every night. It's the first Wednesday of every month, and I can give Chrissy some information on that if she wants to share it on the radio.
Yeah.
We have brochures when we're out at events, for the support group, and the gentleman who spoke, one gentleman in particular, he talked about the depression that comes with it, and he's been, he's had his prostate removed, a prostatectomy, I think 14 years ago.
Oh my.
But he said, I literally every once in a while, and he looks like a good old Yankee. He's got a big white beard, and he said every once in a while, just break down crying. He said, I'm not sure why. He said, but the mental anguish of having any kind of cancer.
Yes.
I agree.
When you hear that word cancer, it's painful.
Yeah.
Because who hasn't been affected by cancer?
That's a good point.
so many people, we've all been touched by someone, whether we've had it or we know someone.
Right.
I mean, I lost my
Right.
dad, and that was just beyond. I lost my best friend to breast cancer. You know, there's just so many people, so many
Yeah.
good people.
But
you know,
you mentioned the diet and exercise, because
exercise.
one of the webinars we watched last night was about that.
Yeah.
You know, that through healthy eating,
Mm-hmm.
good regular exercise,
Yeah.
you can suppress the cancer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Wow,
that's critical.
very helpful.
That's critical. And the other thing is, with the male issue, testosterone is the thing that grows prostate
Right.
cancer.
Feeds it.
You know,
Right.
But again, it goes back to that, what you both referred to is that early detection. Because,
Yeah.
like breast cancer, now is it 100%? No, nothing is in life.
No.
But
Right.
the odds are, if you detect prostate cancer early, when it hasn't,
Right.
spread outside that gland,
Mm-hmm.
you have a 95% chance of living a full, active life.
That's,
And that's great.
yeah.
Yeah, I was skiing with my dad. Three months before he passed away. Hardcore, Loon Mountain cruising down, and I have video of it, and it's just living your life the fullest. It's a mind game too, also. So it's about positive thoughts. And it's hard. That's why I believe in this amazing organization. So you have support groups.
Yeah, there's a support group. It was called Man to Man.
Man to man.
And it was a national group, and Concord Cancer Center supported it for years. But then because of COVID and staffing, in
Yeah.
order for Concord to continue it, they had to have a staff member. And because they're short of staff, they couldn't free up somebody to run the program. But a gentleman a retired lawyer from Concord, David Braderman, took it upon himself with a group of us to, we can't let this die. It's too important.
I love that.
So
I
it's
mean,
it's a great,
you need people like that.
It's a great meeting. Next month we're going to be at the Grapponi Center, the Mazda dealership in Concord. It's going to be a
I was
Dave-
just at the Grapponi Center for a unity
okay.
breakfast.
Yeah,
which was
David calls it a hybrid
Oh,
meeting.
okay.
We're going to be live, but we're also because there are people in Maine and Vermont who
So
join
they
this
zoom
group.
in too. That's
Yeah,
that's
but it's
nice. Do you know
really helpful for.
When is that, and how do people get involved or reach
Yeah,
out to you?
I'll give you the information for
Okay.
David, and he doesn't have a website, but he has he's really open. He has an email just for.
Can they
for the-
email you directly?
Oh yeah, sure. They could
Okay.
email me,
Do you
and
want
I'll.
to share your
Sure,
email?
Peter. It's lowercase p MCGEE 58 at Comcast.net. And I'll send you, I'll put you on the mailing list and I'll give you
Yeah.
all this information.
That'd be great.
I overwhelm
So great.
people with prostate cancer information. Some people say, I really don't read everything. And I say, well,
Right.
neither do I. But if it strikes your fancy and it seems
Right.
to hit home,
Yes.
read
Right.
it.
That's exactly it. And so you guys leading the way, and with Dick Hatton and Ann, and you have this amazing show coming up, Celine Dion
Yes.
Yes.
tribute
Yeah.
at the Palace Theater, and I love the Palace Theater.
I do
Yeah,
too.
it's a great
Can you
place.
share a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead. Kat.
Well, it's
Our 10th year, right?
right, our
10th
10th
doing
year.
your
What?
show.
That's
Yeah.
right. It's 10 years because my dad was at the first one,
Yeah.
and he had a cane, but he was standing up and he was dancing.
Oh.
So thank you to Ann and Dick Hatton for
Right, for all their
leading-
hard work getting,
Yeah,
finding
every year.
the talent that they've
Yes.
found over the years. We want to fill the palace.
Yeah, we need to fill the
absolutely fill
palace.
the palace.
We need to fill the palace.
Right.
Celine Dion music.
Oh,
this
it's gonna be
woman,
great.
I mean,
Oh, I've been watching her YouTube
and she's from
videos.
Vegas, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
she's
she's
Las
fabulous.
Vegas. She's
Yeah.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah,
She's,
so gorgeous.
And she does the whole, all the Celine Dion moves, and she's awesome.
Yeah,
So
she-
grab
I'm really
your
looking
tickets
forward to it.
yeah.
right at palacetheater.org. Is that-
Yes.
Yes,
Palace
Palace
Theater.
Theater. Yeah, go to the
Yeah.
Palace Theater. Dick always emphasizes that because if you go to a third party, you're going to pay more. And
Yeah.
their
The
tickets
tickets are
are
$39.
$39, which is
$39.
Yep.
cheap for a show of this level.
Yes. Only $39. in the great city of Manchester, Hanover Street, and October 3rd.
Yes.
October
3rd, Thursday night.
7:30.
I will be there. It's on my
7:30.
calendar. I wouldn't miss it.
Oh, absolutely.
It is
Yeah, that's great.
unbelievable. And then you have something else cool. Like sometimes we do our board meetings when I can get there,
Yeah.
which I'm grateful that you are so forgiving when I can't
Oh.
show up, you know.
She has so many things just going on.
Absolutely.
My God.
Catching the balls, whatever I can catch,
That's right.
and I love being part of great teams with great people.
I do too.
You know, and you know what the other thing is, I wouldn't have really known you maybe, if it wasn't for my
Right.
bestie Caitlin,
Oh,
and
I
then
know.
her sharing about, and then Mary Jane
Oh yes,
know?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
good
it's
friends,
wonderful.
right.
coming together for good health for everyone.
Right.
And finding real solutions. And we're not all the same. What works for me might not work for someone else.
Right.
Well,
Exactly.
I'll never have a prostate.
Right.
So, but I am for looking out for all the great men.
We've really
And
been
getting people to
very
talk about it.
fortunate because, we talk about it.
Yeah.
People know people, and they make suggestions. We hooked up with Manchester Community College and their graphics art department, and they have done beautiful work for us
Yeah.
for free.
That's because
and-
they care.
And
Yeah.
because
So
and the
beautiful.
students talk to us, and they've come up with some great ideas, some fun things, some a little adding a little levity to it. It's been really good, and I want to.
Yeah, thank Manchester
Yeah,
Community College.
Manchester Community
They-
College.
Shout
they
out
do-
to
They have
Manchester
great,
Community
Yeah.
great programs.
It's
and,
very very nice.
and the professors are, just wonderful to work with,
Absolutely.
and they're caring, and it's great. Yeah, we even came up. One of the students came up with a little prostate character,
Oh, I can't wait to
a
see
little
that.
man.
a little
Yeah.
prostate man.
That's so cute. I
But-
can't wait
It
to
is.
see
It's
it.
very
You know.
cute.
And the
Very
other
cute.
the other thing coming up next Wednesday.
Speaking of caring,
Yes.
Speaking of caring.
we are fortunate to have a connection with Carrabba's, and in Bedford, they are doing a Carrabba's Cares. So from noon to 9, come on in. Peter and I will be there.
We'll be there.
And,
Great food.
Yes, we'll get 15% of your check if you mention that you're there to support prostate cancer.
The
Yeah.
NHPCC. And what day is that again?
Wednesday
The
the
19th.
Wednesday the
No,
9th?
I don't think that's
not
Wednesday.
a
I
Thurs-
think it's a
Is it
Thursday.
a Thursday?
Oh, Thursday the 19th.
19th?
Yes.
Yes, Thursday
Today
the
is
19th.
12th. Right.
Okay, today's
Thursday
the
the
12th, so
19th.
Thursday the
Go to
19th.
Carrabba's and
In
have
Bedford.
some delicious Italian food.
Yeah.
And mention prostate cancer.
And pick up some of our literature because
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah.
It really is. And they, any questions, you guys are just so available.
Yeah.
And you, when I was part of the National Alliance for Prostate Cancer, at the national level, there's this great guy named Chris, and he was head of the Arkansas
Yeah,
Prostate Cancer
don't drop the
Coalition.
ball.
And yes, and I said to him, I'm like, your Don't Drop the Ball campaign is so cool. Can we bring it to New Hampshire? And so I did bring it to New Hampshire.
Absolutely.
And they picked up the ball.
did.
Yeah, we
Which
picked up
is
the ball and ran
amazing.
with it.
Literally, they picked up the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Arkansas, they do it.
For football.
For football.
For like Friday night football.
Yeah,
And
and
they
they-
have these big banners like all across the state and
That's
everything.
fabulous. I
Yeah.
wish we could get that.
So
level.
We
Hey,
need to
if
talk
anybody-
to Manchester athletics.
Oh, yeah, no, we-
maybe Christine Teld. I
Yeah.
know she's super busy and doing a great
No, but
job.
We've
know,
been to Bedford. We've
yeah,
been
we've
to
been to
Goffstown.
Bedford.
Okay.
We were going to do football, but then Corey Parker, I have to say Corey's name because he's a
Oh, he's
great
been great.
athletic director in Bedford. And Justin
really
in
helpful,
Goffstown,
right.
he's moved on, but we have a new AD that's going to work with us. And Coach Lett over at Central.
Coach Lett.
Yeah,
I know
and
Sudie.
His
Hey,
dad,
Sudie.
his dad is on our board.
Yes.
He's our treasurer. He's wonderful. But yeah, so we originally were going to do football, but then Corey mentioned, you're dealing with the weather in New England, which is very unpredictable, and you have
Yeah.
flyers and brochures out.
Yeah.
So we said, what about basketball? During the winter, you're inside.
Yeah.
You get 3 games in a row. You get the freshmen, the JVs, and the varsity.
Yep.
And so we started in Bedford. Then we moved to Goffstown, and this year we're going to do Bedford, Goffstown, and Central. We're going to
Amazing.
We look at doing things
Absolutely.
on, little steps so we don't get overwhelmed,
Right.
doing everything. But yeah, and I have to say the encouraging thing for me, one of the encouraging things, besides the research and so forth, the young people's reaction is so exciting.
Yeah.
They come up and they get the bracelets, they talk about it. We'll say,
So good.
no, make sure you tell your father, your grandfather,
Yeah.
your uncles, your brothers,
Right.
that
Yeah.
they need to get their PSA checked,
Yeah.
and some
So
of the
important.
young people, they look and go, what's a PSA? What's a prostate?
Yeah.
I know. Well, girls do not
but it
have
works.
prostates,
Girls
FYI,
don't,
just to let you know.
but so that's encouraging, and I
Yes.
think even at at your event over at the Stark Brewery
Yes.
these past Thursdays in
Chill
August,
Fest.
Right.
Chill Fest.
And we have a special announcement. I can't completely, but I'm going to ask you to save the date. October 10th is a special Chill Fest.
Oh.
That's coming. I
Oh.
can't share too much. I'm super excited.
Oh,
October
great.
10th.
Good.
And shortly after your Palace Theater. So I
Right.
highly recommend going to palacetheater.org, getting your tickets for the Celine Dion tribute show. Heading
Yes.
over to Carrabba's next Thursday, the 19th. And I just want to share also is NHPCC, you guys are all volunteers.
Absolutely.
And you work because you care and you just want to keep sharing.
Right.
And no one gets paid.
Nope.
All the money goes to different things that you're trying to support that have
Awareness.
everything to do
Our
with
goal
prostate
is
cancer.
awareness. Yeah.
Awareness.
Awareness.
Awareness, and I believe in awareness. I believe in the PSA test until I'm proven otherwise. And I am open to all health freedom.
Absolutely.
So I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you for having
joining
us.
Oh my
Yeah.
We
God.
get the word out.
And
We gotta
thanks
get
to
the
your
words out.
dad for getting that started
Yes.
all those years ago.
Thank you, my dad. My gosh, grateful. He's like, you know what? I want to make the blue ribbon memorable, like out there, like the pink ribbon.
Yeah.
And men matter, women matter, we all
Absolutely.
matter. And you know what? It is about connecting and uniting and making, all of us healthier.
Right.
Yeah.
Period. And you know what? We're all different. And if we can come together and share what works for each other, that's the beauty. And you
Absolutely.
know what? Connecting, smiling, and loving on people, that is what it's about.
Yeah.
Loving.
Absolutely.
Until next time, stay chill, and hopefully I'll see you at one of our
Events, yeah.
prostate cancer awareness events. Thank you, guys.
you, Chris.
Love you. Peace, love, and chill.